Fantasia, a 1940 Disney animated feature that consists of approximately 8 animated segments set to pieces of classical music. And actually, yeah, as you can see, the synopsis is actually really simple. And because of that, I can't give a review in the same way that I normally do. And this was definitely my most difficult film to date that I've reviewed, especially because there really isn't too much to critique for this. So by this point, Disney had found success with their very first animated feature, which was actually the first animated feature of all time, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, as well as Pinocchio. So it's really strange that Disney decided to do something so utterly different and unique next, especially when you consider the fact that this was not the original plan. You see, Mickey Mouse's popularity began declining around that time, and Disney decided to create a new short for Silly Symphonies, where Mickey was a sorcerer in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. But as the budget just kept growing and growing, the company just shrugged and decided, you know what, why don't we just take a few more shorts that we have from there and just turn it into one movie, and the end result is just awe-inspiring. The film really has no narrative, and it's explained in the opening by the Master of Ceremonies. He explains that the shorts either have a specific narrative, others suggest a sort of narrative, and the rest just don't have a narrative at all. Hell, the ones that basically don't just look like abstract images, things that you would perhaps think of if you were listening to the music for the first time with your eyes closed, or if you were just dreaming and the music just happened to be on. The entire film is an experiment of taking classical music and combining a stellar Disney animation. There's no overall story, it's multiple stories, and even some of those aren't stories themselves. It's just, this is an emotional experience, just focusing on the music and the visuals. There's no dialogue apart from the Master of Ceremonies explaining something in between each short. And its emotional simplicity is just awesome. It couldn't have worked without it. And most shorts you feel very confused in, and that's not a bad thing. You're mostly supposed to draw your own conclusions from what you just saw. And the premise for Fantasia is very simple and yet oddly profound. This is probably the first Disney film made more for the adults. There's nothing bad in it that warrants that parents keep their children away from it. It's just that most children may not find this extremely entertaining. It's just simply suits adults who appreciate great animation and classical music. There's not much to say for a full recap except that the animation is great, the music is great as well, and it's just a very interesting concept to utilize classical music with animation, which, as I mentioned, they've been doing it for a couple of years by this point with Silly Symphonies, but it had never been tackled in this way before. The entire film pays off immensely, and the film feels like a powerhouse of art, and actually can even feel like you're in an art museum, except that the art moves and it's accompanied by great music. And it's a shame that Disney didn't end up doing more of these, and they wanted to, but Fantasia was so expensive to make, and it didn't earn enough in the box office to warrant any more. And this was partly because of the effect that World War II had on pretty much everything. And we did get a sequel a little over half a century later called Fantasia 2000, but I haven't gotten to the point where I can finally see it. But all in all, I must point out that I'm really bad with movie lists where I put either a top 1,000, top 100, even top 10 is tricky. And I honestly don't know how people do it, but Fantasia is something that I can definitely consider one of my favorites. Not just one of my favorite animated films of all time, but just one of my favorite movies of all time. And I can't go any lower than this. It's a simple masterpiece. Fantasia will be given 5 out of 5 reels for me. Thank you guys so much for watching and just listening to me ramble for a little while. So I must ask you, what did you guys think of Fantasia? Do you love it, hate it, indifferent? You haven't seen it yet? What were its strengths? What were its weaknesses, if there are any? Well, anyway, leave your comments down in the comment section down below, because I want to know your guys' opinions. I welcome new perspectives. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already for more reviews and content. There's always more to come. And for other ways to help support the channel, please check out in the description down below. And once again, guys, don't forget about my poll that's on my Facebook page, where you guys get to choose some of the next movies that I actually review. Thanks once again for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye.